profits. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to the HHH Racing Podcast, episode 23 of Great Race Plays, where we cover the Sunday late pick 4 at the Great Race Place, Santa Anita Park. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz, along with co-host from the East Coast of Maryland, Mr. Pete Visco. Our other co-host and good friend, Paul Halloran, is, let's just say, Pete, on assignment in Saratoga Springs for the huge Belmont Stakes weekend, but we welcome all you viewers out there and listeners, especially our West Coast friends who might be listening and or watching on the Santa Anita X channel or YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us. Pete, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, better than you, it seems like. Why don't, for anybody who doesn't know, why don't you fill in the listeners and viewers on how your day went, especially that last race at Saratoga.
Yeah, I know we're here to talk about Santa Anita, but look, this game is very difficult. We've all had bad beats. No one wants to hear all the bad beat stories, but some are worse than others. I was alive to not a life-changing score, but a nice high 4-digit, about $8,000 pick 6 with the 9 in the last race today, Thursday, at Saratoga, who had the lead the entire race until literally the last millisecond. Had the most brutal bob I think I've had since Sierra Leone. It was a bad one, but look, it happens. It's the way it goes. And then another horse I had in the race, again, if people watch Saratoga today, the number 5, Bint El Dandy, who actually was being bet, is a horse I have a small ownership piece of with Adelphi Racing. And unfortunately, it's sort of scary. She flipped pre-race in the gate, Pete. One horse acted up, and you know how these animals are. Yeah. Sometimes they react to each other. And the filly actually went to her back and her butt. She is okay. They extricated her from the gate, and she went back to the barn. Rob Falcone, the trainer, reported that she's going to be all right. Really scary situation. So one of my horses that I partial ownership flipped and didn't run, and the horse I needed for the pick 6, who was the favorite, barely lost by literally a millimeter. How was your betting day today, Pete?
It wasn't successful, but there was nothing painful. It was just, just regular losing stuff, but nothing as painful as that. It's amazing to me that the horses could come out of flipping in the gate like that. By the way, it's so tight and they're so big. I mean, knock on wood, whenever that happens, but it's crazy that they could come out of that relatively unscathed so many times.
It's a pretty tight spot if you've ever been inside of a gate. I mean, sometimes you can go to a museum or there's places where you can actually, they don't have a lot of room outside of their own body. And so it is pretty crazy. Jim Plars in the chat. What's up, Jim? I believe he's going to be in Vegas this weekend. So good luck, Jim, with your gambling extravaganza in Vegas. Give you credit for being positive on this show after that terrible pick 6 beat. I felt bad as I had a pick 5 for $1 of Smartest. That was the 9. That was the one I needed. Gets the bob, but that was a fraction of your potential win. Doesn't matter, Jim. That's a brutal beat for you too. I mean, so sorry, man. The pick 5 was still okay. The pick 5 was, I think it was around
it was like 990 something with Smartest or the winner. The winner with Smartest, I think it was just under 1,000.
It was pretty. It was like 900. Yeah. So that's it's all bad. It's all bad. But thanks, Jim. Jim, I told Pete before the show, I cured my sadness by going out to dinner with good friend Matt Miller and had a glass of wine. Okay, maybe 2, but I'm all good. That was a while ago, I think.
That's why he's happy, Jim. There was the booze. It's not it's not his mental stableness. It's the booze that's doing it.
It'll be all good. Stuff happens. And that's the way it goes. All right, Pete. Speaking of things happening, pick 4 at Santa Anita on Sunday. This is our penultimate show. The Santa Anita Hollywood meet closes, ladies and gentlemen, on Father's Day, which is a week from Sunday. So this is our second to last Great Race Plays show of the winter / spring / summer here. So I'm sure we'll say it next week, Pete, but I do want to give great thanks to First Racing and Andrew Arthur and all the people at Santa Anita who gave us this fantastic opportunity. We've had a lot of fun. Jeff Chapman, of course, as well. And we hope to do this again in the late fall into the winter. That's up to First Racing. Hopefully they're going to have the finances for it. I think they would like to do it, at least the let's just say the marketing and administration would like to do it. It's up to people above them to have the funds in order to do the show again. So we'll see what happens. But it's been a pleasure, and we've had a lot of fun doing. But let's get into the Sunday late pick four right now as I bring it up on the screen. It's an interesting sequence. There's some decent fields here, and look, hopefully people are going to make a lot of money during this Belmont weekend, or of course it's Santa Anita this weekend as well, and they can play the late pick four. We do not have a morning line. It starts in race 6 at about 3:30 West Coast time. That'll be 6:30 on the East Coast. Maiden 56 furlongs for California breds or California sired maidens, because you see there are 2 Kentucky breds, but they're California sired. It's a field of 7. I thought relatively evenly matched, Pete. I think I don't know who the favorite's going to be very honest. I don't even want to speculate. It could be a few different ones. So let's just go right to the banner right now on the screen. I'm going to go 274, and you're going to go 247. So we're both going to go with Proud Racer for Baltus and Ricky Gonzalez, a 4-year-old who did face Go-Go Prancer the 4 last time and was beat by Go-Go Prancer. But interesting enough, Pete, we both like Proud Racer more anyway in this spot.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess I'm kind of going with them to come back. I like those repeat exactas. A couple things. Again, this isn't the. These are tough because I think it's a pretty even race, top to bottom. But this is one where it's only 4 races in, so you start. I don't know what the tipping point is, but you get to a point where you're like, okay, is this starting to become a perpetual maiden, or is this a horse that we could see winning? And I think this horse is just at least shown. I mean, hits the board in all 3 races as a 4-year-old, has hit the board. You see 2 seconds in the third. So, and the loss by a nose 2 back sort of at this company. So they both, or this horse went up to maiden special, ran a solid race, now is coming back down to the maiden 50 level, which maybe is a little bit more his speed. Baltus, I was looking just sort of at that move, because that move is always a little more drastic than you sometimes can realize. He's got 2 wins in 2 places in his last 4 starts, going maiden special weight back down to maiden claiming on dirt. And the one thing I think this horse is the second time form late pace. There's only like a moderate pace projected. So I think this horse just needs to stay sort of in range. So if we can get the trip similar to 2 back, I think we'll be in good striking position. Paired up Beyer tops last time. Sometimes that leads to a forward move. I know our buddy Matt Bernier likes that when you pair up the Beyer tops. So maybe you get a forward move here. And I think we can just get the right trip with this one. What did you like?
Well, the 8 got a dream tripper on the outside go, and our 5 that we like here, Proud Racer. First of all, he's had problems out of the gate. You see how he's pulling here, Pete? Obviously we don't like that. He wants to go. He's in between horses. He's had a bunch of issues in his races in the past, and it's not like he made some kind of explosive move late. But he lost ground because in between pulling. Here's the 8 who had 0, and I mean 0 excuses in this rate. And the 5, ran on. Again, nothing really that special, but based on the fact that he was pulling, wanted to be up closer, and did close the gap a little bit, I just like him more. I mean, I just don't see how you can love, it was pretty close there at the end. The 8 had 0 excuses, while the 8 was in between and pulling, and, the 5 was in between and pulling. I wish this horse was drawn all the way on the outside, Proud Racer, but he's worked very well since. I think there's more in the tank than it looks. I don't think he has to be anything special to win this race. I'm just in general would prefer Proud Racer over the 8 horse who we saw in that race, who is the
4.
The 4 on Sunday.
Here. Yeah.
Right. Go-Go Prancer. But we'll see. I don't think Go-Go Prancer is impossible. I just not sure the distance is going to be better for Go-Go Prancer either. I sort of feel like 5.5.
Honestly, I don't know if you ever care about this. It's something I tend to pay attention to. I know it's only 3 races, but this horse is even though in 2 races back went from 4th to 3rd, the horse has basically lost ground at the end of each race. So to me, that feels like just doesn't finish strong enough. And maybe if we can get a closer trip, a better trip in conjunction with Go-Go Prancer, maybe not getting as easy as a trip, then maybe the finishing kick of our 2 horse will outkick Go-Go Prancer.
Does project the 5 to get a perfect trip again, sitting outside.
Yeah. Oh, that's the 5 though. The 4 is Go Prancer, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. My bad. You're
Yeah,
right.
I hate that the numbers aren't there. It always gets you confusing, but
yeah, no excuses. You're right. I don't know. I just prefer the 2. I think the 7 is definitely worth looking at. This is the outside horde, Uncle
yep.
Evco.
I think sadly I was at the May 18th. Was that a Sunday? I think I unfortunately may have picked that horse
Yeah, it was
last time.
against Nation. Remember who
Yeah,
won?
yep.
Yeah. He's had a lot of chances, but they've been long on turf. He only has one dirt start, and that was going a mile. I just like turnbacks. I'm just a sucker for
Oh,
turnbacks.
sure.
He looks very evenly. He looks very even when he runs. I have no idea if the 6 furlong is going to work out for him, Pete. I really don't have an overly strong opinion in this race, other than I'm going to try to beat the 4 Go Prancer with either the 2 or the 7. I don't like the other options that were given us in this race. You don't either. You're just going.
No, we're sort of we're basically on the same page here.
Yep.
I had 2 A's and a B. The B was the 7. The 2 A's were the 2 and the 4. So I'm in the same boat. The 7 for me was I didn't know if there was enough pace. Tends to fall a little bit too far back. And Palma is ice cold, man. I like Palma usually ice cold at the meet, and he's 3 for 43 going turf to dirt. So that combination just sort of threw me off him this time.
Yeah, no bueno. There is a stake race, but it's not in the late pick 4, just to let everyone know. Let's go on to the feature of the late pick 4, at least, which is race 7. This is a nice race. This is optional allowance claiming 80,000. They're going a mile 8 on the turf. $63,000 is the purse. The rail is out 20 feet on Sunday. In general, that might help speed a little bit. It's a good field of 9. It's a very interesting field. There's no superstars here, but I thought this was a very, very tough race. A lot of horses are similar to me in ability. I'm going to go with the interloper. This is the other McCarthy. He's got 2 in the race. I'm going to go with the number 8, Mondego. I'm going 8-7-2. Pete is going 2-7-3. So we have some similarities. Dicey Mochara for Leonard Powell, Pete. He's got 2 in the race. Dicey Mochara has had a nice career. He's very consistent, if not spectacular. He has won, he's won close to $700,000. He can run a race in the 90s, but I think it's very fair to say, Pete, that he's definitely lost a bit off the fastball and might want to go longer. I think he's going to take a lot of money, and because of the 2 reasons I mentioned, that he's getting a little long in the tooth, he might want to go longer. He's going to take a lot of money. It is Ayuso, which is Noah Maher's boy. Noah Maher is, of course, the host of Pacific Horse Players, and rightly so, because Armando Ayuso is having a nice meet, 17%. I understand why you like him, and I'm going to use him. I'm a little against him on the win end, but tell everyone why you like Dicey Mochara.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing overly complicated. I think just there's still a class advantage. I agree with you that the fastball, as you said, isn't there, but I'm not sure if his fastball is what he would need to beat this company. So I guess that's always the hardest distinction, though, is when you get these horses, and it's not like he likes to win, but he doesn't like to win against horses that he maybe isn't supposed to beat. So that's different than beating horses you're probably supposed to. And I don't know if I said that right, but I think everybody gets the gist. I thought there was enough pace in here where obviously his best races are when he gets a little closer. So if he can get a little closer and not be too far back, I think he can just work out a trip. Yeah, you're basically highlighting, and that was coincidentally.
What's the last time he was in the last ungraded, or actually he was in the All-American, which was not great. The last time he was in a race basically. That was not a stake race, exactly, was over 3 years ago, which I just realized now.
Yeah.
So that's quite. I'll tell you what. Credit to the ownership and the trainer for doing that good a job on a horse to keep him consistent. I mean,
yeah.
To your excellently noted point, he is the class of the race, and like we just said, he has not been in a non-stake since it went over 3 years now. So
yeah, and sometimes with the older horses, maybe you get and that first race off the layoff. I mean, that last race, it's not like he was running. I mean, he had that little stretch in the end of 24, beginning of 25, where you're like, uh-oh, is this horse sort of going the wrong way? The results, he's not getting close to the board. He's not hitting the board. Then he comes off that little layoff in the Whittingham and runs a nice third with a decent buyer. So you're like, at least the horse is at 7 and hasn't lost it. And maybe, us old guys, it takes us a little longer to get the bones working. So maybe second off the layoff, he'll be a little sharper this time. That's the whole. It wasn't a long layoff, but it's enough. The older you get, they become long layoffs, even when they're really not.
Juan Ramos in the chat. This podcast got him to be betting San Anita and watch the races. Good for you, Juan. Please tell that to the marketing department.
Yeah, tell that to them.
You're exactly the guy that we. Juan, send us our phone number. You're our new agent, Juan. Thank you.
You know what? When the fall meet starts for Santa Anita and they're seeing like half the wagering happening, they'll know it was because the HHH podcast isn't bringing in all the fans in the end.
There you go. We appreciate that, Juan. Yeah, Jim just mentioned it was almost 1,000 for that $1 pick 5.
Yeah, I think the person who I was looking at had $1 as well, because they had sent it to me as they were also equally pissed at the head.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. I like this horse probably more than I give him credit for. I guess I'm just trying to fit a little bit of a price here. Mondego is not a strong opinion for me, Pete, but our good friend Paul Howard always talks about the East Coast to West Coast angle. He hasn't raced since October, but I've been a bit of a fanboy of this horse out east, even though he's only 2 for 12 for Clement. I think he always had some potential.
There's some good names there, right? There's some good names
Battle
there.
Normandy. Yeah, I mean, he's run some big races in his career. At a little bit, they stretched him out. It seemed like the longer they went, the better he was. 1 1/8 might be too short. This workout pattern, I have to look at the workout report, but missed from March to late April and has been working okay, really, during the month of May with a faster work, the beginning of June here. He might need one, Pete. I'm going to have to look at the workout report really carefully, see how he looks on track. But I don't think he's going to be up close in this race. I think he's going to sit right off. And look, we all know how good Christophe Clement was, and of course, rest in peace, Christophe Clement, and how good that stable is. But Mike McCarthy's no dummy. There's no reason why this horse should regress. He's only 5. I mean, he could improve. I have a small concern that he might need one, Pete, based on the workout tab. The other horse that I'm interested that you like a lot also is Genius Jimmy. And I have a little fun fact about Genius Jimmy.
Oh, do it.
When Genius Jimmy won on February 4th of 23 at 13-1, I remember that race very well for one reason, Pete. At the time, that was one of our better spot plays that we'd ever had on our power pick tip sheet. He had a sneaky weird trip the race before, and I actually liked him quite a bit and scored at 13-1. I actually had to go back to make sure that was the horse, and indeed it was. So our power pick tip sheet came through that week with Genius Jimmy. He's had some layoff lines. I don't know if this distance is going to work, but it looks like he's getting sharper and sharper for McCarthy. So this horse is definitely going. Well, I think Mondego is going to sit. Maybe he's sharp enough to win this race. He's going to need to be, but look at those fractions 2 back. He's getting good, Pete.
Yeah, there's some stuff there. And I mean, as long as I think it doesn't heat up and time form, if I recall correctly, has him as sort of I think it has him sort of getting away on the lead. I apologize if I'm remembering the wrong one. No, it does. And it says fast pace because he's fast. And even sometimes he's had instances like you see the win that you pointed out on February 4th. He had a relatively clear lead and still went fast. So sometimes he just goes. Genius Jimmy is a great name for our buddy Jim Pilar's.
Jim, don't lower that price too much, man. Don't lower that price too much, Jim.
Yeah, don't take that craps money and roll it on to Genius Jimmy. But my thing with him was he's been better with Lasix. He gets Lasix here, which is always nice because he had some duds in the graded stakes. You don't know if it was the class or the Lasix, but it's hard to leave a clear leader off in some of these races, right? That's where I have trouble if you're playing a horizontal. I had one poo-poo stat, by the way, on Mondego for you.
Okay.
Mike McCarthy, and I don't, this is a weird one because, well, I guess it's not. Domestic shipping first time after a trainer switch on turf. So I don't know if you caught all that. Yep. He's 1 for 37, Mike McCarthy. Ooh. Now, again, those are weird because it's hard to know. Like, you're like, hey, is he bringing them from out of state and they get here and he just doesn't get a chance in that first start? Beautiful. get a chance in that first start to do what he wants to do with them, and then they improve after that. But it's just something to think about.
That's no bueno. That's that right there. That's basically
Yeah,
the new acquisitions for the barn on the turf from the in the U.S. continental United States. Not
yeah,
good. So
not
we'll
great.
see. John Judge is here. Tough beat today, Howard, but you're good enough to be in that position. That's what matters. And John, I think I'm not. This is not patting myself on the back. This is a good lesson for everyone. And you got to tell yourself this sometimes, Pete. Otherwise, you'll just go crazy and you'll hate this game. Matt Bernier talks about it. Everyone wants to be result oriented, which is fair because it's real money, right? We're not playing with monopoly money. But if you put yourself in that position enough times to have a good score, it will happen. It's happened for me, obviously, many times in my career, you as well. You do have to be in that position and structure a ticket to put yourself in that position. And look, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. John, I do appreciate that. I will be shockingly by no one. I will be back at it tomorrow and Saturday throughout the country, but mainly at Belmont, and of course our wonderful San Anita friends on Sunday. All right, let's get
Honestly,
on.
real quick, honestly, for me, the bad beats hurt more when I screw up as opposed to something like that. Like that, it's just
Totally
dumb
agree.
racing luck. It's when I screw up that
Yes.
festers with me for much longer.
Like some just horrible ticket construction. Like, why did I
Yeah,
structure it that way?
or I
You
know the
know,
horse that's going to beat me. I've told you guys this. I go through a pick five sequence, and in my head, I always pick out one or two horses that I know I'm going to leave off, and they're going to screw me. And that when that does, it that festers. That takes like a
well,
week for me to get over
those are
usually.
ones you got to put, like $30 to win or something. Make sure you get
Yeah,
your
you
money
got to
back
do
in there.
something. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, or the dreaded clerical error. That's happened to me in my
Uh,
career as well. But that's usually at the 8 at not the 8 a.m. at the OTB. With the machines. Now with my phone, I don't. Those mistakes don't happen. Or
as
the
much.
teller
Yeah,
that's not paying attention. That's happened to me too. Anyway,
I've had a
we all
few of
have we
those in
all have
my day.
stories.
Yeah.
Speaking of stories, we got a main 16 here in the penultimate race on Sunday, race 8, about 4:30 Pacific Coast time. This is your bread and butter horses, right, Pete? These are the ones that
I
sort of
like these.
make
Yeah.
racing go. These are usually sometimes they're older. These are not. These are actually younger fillies in general. They've never won two, so they're condition claimers. 22,000 is the purse. I got to feel like our top choice will be the favorite. I'm going 417,
Yeah.
and Pete is also going 417. Not much to say here in this race, Pete. Nada, excuse me, Nada, the number 4 for Herrera riding and Baltus just looks extremely logical. I just couldn't get creative here.
Yeah, for me it was everything you basically said. So I'm just looking at my notes real quick. The horse ran well first time routing on dirt last time actually, and the thing that you like, he got out dueled by the winner. The winner just ran a better race. If you the winner was on the lead, this horse sat second, and they went around the track, and this horse just couldn't go by. But what I liked is you could see there they were 10 lengths ahead of everyone else, so they were
Yes.
pretty much two the best in that field. It was still a lifetime buyer top, a lifetime time form top for this horse. And again, I like second off a short layoff, second at the level too, and then second going the 8 furlongs on the dirt. So I feel like all that combination should lead to some improvement as well.
Yep.
And I think there's inside speed. I think this horse can sit sort of that same trip. And I think hopefully we'll be better this time and better equipped to go by.
We do a lot. We like to do a lot of teaching on this show. I think it's very important, Pete. You know that because I'm a teacher and I've been saying that since day one of this podcast and since day one of the podcast when you and Paul joined about a year and a half after I started. And the reason why I bring up the teaching is people that don't know, there is something called a buyer par, if you like buyer. And it's at the top, and it's not for every race, but many races. The buyer par is basically what DRF is saying the average buyer number will be for this class level of a race. They have it as a 63 for this race, and Nada ran a 66 last time, which is not a lot above the par, but basically, Pete, that says that for the level, Nada and Queen Gervin, who won the race, they were better than average for this level, which I
Yep.
always like to upgrade a little bit when I notice that. I don't talk about that too often on the show, or do I look at it that often with my handicap? But just thought it'd be worth mentioning.
You know, it's funny. I actually, the first thing I do every race, and not that Bayer is any sort of end all be all, but I sort of just look at the Bayers and create sort of a mental par almost, not in that same way like the condition, but I look at it and say, okay, looking at all the horses and what they've run, what do I think is going to be needed to run this race? Not that they've had to have to do it already,
Right.
but do I think that the horse that I like can maybe get to that, or have they done it already? That's actually the first thing I do. I just do a quick scroll through the whole field and come up with that number in my head, and then figure out, okay, is there anyone I think that can get there or already has been there, and can repeat it?
I like that. I'm gonna start looking at that more. We'll just talk about the one Misty Muppet here quickly. I thought with the toneless breeding and the candy right on the dam side, this horse would have a chance to do well stretching out. She's 4 years old, and 11 starts. She's never stretched out. So I like William Anton Jorsey. He's a solid jockey. Those people don't know. He was mainly Northern California guy. The numbers certainly fit if she can stretch out. There's not a lot of early speed in this race. I think she'll be relatively up close. And she's the one I like for second. Wouldn't be surprised at all if she wins the race, frankly.
No, me neither. And the one thing I noted was she has there's one sibling on the dam side, and that horse ran second going a mile, and then in their next race won by 6 at the allowance 50 level. So solid enough level, going a mile and an eighth. So I thought at least that's something that gives you a little confidence that maybe this stretch out will be okay for this horse, even though they hadn't tried it yet after 11 races, which is puzzling sometimes. There was a horse the other day where I forget they put the horse on the turf. It was a trainer switch. They put the horse on the turf, and the horse looked fantastically better. And my cousin was texting me, and he's like, "Some of these you just want to go back to the old owner or trainer, like if they have a trainer switch, to say." Hey, what the F are you guys doing? Why didn't you try this horse on the turf maybe once? Look at how well they ran this time. So you never know. Could just be that they haven't tried it.
Well,
and they
Tom Morley won. Tom Morley won yesterday at Saratoga with a 54-1 shot, first time turf.
And wait, that's the one I'm thinking of. That's the one I'm thinking of yesterday. That bomber. Yep,
beat the 8 horse, which according to X, everyone had the 8. Like the whole world had the 8 somehow.
Everyone has
everything.
The 8
was also like 10-1. But anyway,
everyone has.
I digress. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I got.
By the way, X is obviously when I had that horse. X always had that horse, and they think you're the dumbest. I'm like, yeah, but what about the 6 losing races you had before that? You handicapped those the same way you handicapped this one. So take it down a bit.
Pete, the smartest handicappers by far in the world can be found on X.
All of them.
Well, no, because people said, how did you not use the 6 in the last race day that beat me Santa Anita? I love the 6. Okay, well, then you're smarter than me. But
anyway, it's funny. I looked at my notes on the
good
6.
For those people that have the 6.
I just wanted to look and say, why didn't I like the 6? And I looked at my notes and I was like, these are actually pretty good, which bugs me sometimes. But my note was, I don't think we'll get the setup to close. I think the horse is going to be rolling late, but won't get the setup to close for the win. And apparently that was it was right up until a certain point, right at the end.
I think, actually, the 2 horses that I'm scratching, the 5 and the 7, were both speeds.
Yeah.
And I don't mind where Spoli did. I hate to keep going back to a race that people are going to listen to and watch later. They're going to show, like, what are you talking about? Again, this happened on Thursdays. We're filming it at Saratoga today. I had a bad beat for those of you just joining. The 9 wasn't supposed to show that much speed, but I actually liked the aggressiveness where Spoli said, okay, fine, the main speed is scratch. I'm just going to go. The problem was the other main contender was a speed horse, and 9-10 basically just hooked up the entire way. When you have the 2 top choices, Pete, hook up in any race, weird things can happen. I'm not saying the 6 was some kind of like no hoper, but I mean the 6 was 14-1, and if they don't hook up, if the 10 rate's a little more off, it's not even close. But whatever, things happen. Let's go to the last race. The last race is tricky. Very tricky. I wish our good friend Paul was here. I know he'd shake his head right now. Main special weight on the turf, 6 furlongs on the flat. This is not down the hill. Fillies, 3-year-old and up, mainly 3-year-olds actually. There's a lot going on here. We could talk 20 minutes for this race. We're not going to. I definitely need some more intel, like workout reports and other things, Pete. That being said, we're both going to go with who I think the favorite will be for D'Amato and the aforementioned Rispoli, who, wow, he's going to be riding Sunday. These guys are just amazing. He's got journalism the day before. 24 hours later, he'll be at Santa Anita doing his job. Credit to him. I believe it is Venalia is the name of the number 2. I'm going 297. Pete is going 210.9. It seems like a lot of these last races are sprint turf races at Santa Anita on Sundays, doesn't it?
Yep, it
Feel
does.
that way, and automatically that tells me it could be a tricky race. Again, I'll have to see the workout report. We got some European bred horses. We got new horses coming in from overseas first time. It's really a very interesting race. So what do? We just go with who I think is the chalk and one of the more reliable ones. I don't have much to say other than Vinali had a brutal beat last time, lost by a neck, improved up to a 73. I don't see any reason why the horse can't improve again. Doesn't need the lead, inside post. There's just a lot to like here.
Yeah, you've pretty much said most of it. I guess the only thing you wonder is did the 6.5 help having the extra half furlong, and now you're going back to the 6? But I don't think that should be an issue. I think I'd like the debut run. Actually, wasn't too bad. The one thing I did like, and this is something that's just a personal preference. I like when a horse was working well, goes into a race, runs really well, especially if they run sort of their best race, and then they come out and they're still working solid. Like that last work wasn't phenomenal or anything, but it was just good enough to where it feels like she's holding her sharpness a bit.
Yep.
And now you're getting Rispoli again. So like we always say, Rispoli hopefully got the feel for this horse last time and ran her very well. And now we get the second time together. I mean, it's D'Amato, so there's nothing there. And I just thought that MigPack trip, probably similar to last time, would get the job done. And I just think that race wins this race. So if she can duplicate that race, I think it wins it.
Figures to sit the pocket also. So
yeah,
there's a lot going on here though. So let's
no,
talk
there's
about
a lot. Yep.
A few others here. I want to talk about my 9 for a minute here. Lady Chic, I would assume it's pronounced, for Sadler and JJ Hernandez. This is a Tappet filly out of a Tail of a Cat mare. Now,
I have a note, by the way, that you're going to love when we get to it for this horse.
Wonderful.
Yes.
this horse was, Luminance was a nice dirt horse. I mean, was staked, etc. In fact, none of the siblings have ran on turf. And I was like, that's really weird. Why are they going to turf with this horse when the horse is meant for dirt? Now, when they bought this horse, Pete, for $500,000, you would think, in these Don Alberto stable, very successful ownership, you would think they thought this filly would be a dirt horse. I mean, why not, right? Ran once last year as a 2-year-old, and I thought was pretty green. And they went long first time with her. And I just want to show everyone, I thought this horse had very turfy action and high knee action. Watch the 6. You can see the short comment says climbed early. She doesn't break great. We missed the break. Let me just show the break. She's right here. You'll see a little half step slow, but watch her action. I mean, you have to watch a lot of races. This is very high knee action, like climbing, Pete. She's got a huge stride, right? See right there, she's like climbing, like she doesn't like the dirt kicks in her face at all. She's on the inside. You can see it on the pan shot. Just watch her front legs, everyone, if you're not familiar. It's a little bit harder to tell here, but like her head is going up and down. She just looks uncomfortable, and she's reaching out as if she really wants turf. So when I watch the replay, I'm like, oh, that's why they want to go to the turf. She makes an okay move. I mean, nothing special. She's in these orange silks. You see her right here, and she's got a big stride. She's like blope, 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 like, right? She's not like she's on the wrong
She's on the wrong lead. Yep.
She's just all goofy, but she does have very high knee action right there. And it just looks like not only does she need one, Pete.
Wait. Keep that going for a second. Oh, never mind. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, you want to hear my note? You'll love my note. I'm telling you.
Wait, was there a gallop out on this?
Watch the gallop out for this horse.
You know what? I actually didn't watch the gallop out. Now I'm very curious.
I only did because it was a single race, and I was like, you know what? Funny. Let me see what this horse does because she's so green.
All right, here she is.
They'll cut away like they tend to do, which we don't like.
I didn't watch the gallop out because I just thought she wasn't. She's right here.
You see the gallop out, she just starts passing. I mean, she's not catching that leader who pulls away, but I liked it though. You see, she's coming up on her a little bit
and not asking, right? So
no, just sort of high in the saddle. I like that. Yeah, that was
wow. For a guy that makes fun of me at gallop outs, I'm actually pretty.
You know what? Every once in a while, I squeeze a gallop out of one of these races.
Well, yeah. So I wish. What I wonder here, Pete. I understand why they're going to turf. I don't understand why they're going short on turf. This horse doesn't look like she wants
No.
6 furlongs. So
That
I
was
could
why,
be.
honestly, I was trying to get in my head to put her on top,
Yep.
but it was that. And I was like, I'm just not sure. That's why I put her in third, thinking I think she can do it. She
So is
also
this a
gets
prep
Lasix too.
for?
It
Is
could
this
be
a
a
prep
prep,
for like Long Del Mar? Like, right?
maybe,
I don't.
right? That's why I put her in third for
I
that
just found it
reason. But
weird. I don't know. I think she's interesting though.
I'd be
Anyway,
curious to see if she takes any money too. I don't know if
I
she
think she
will.
will. I think people
Yeah.
see JJ and 500K and blah 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 and
Yeah, that they might.
Sadler. Anyway, I think Lady Chic the 9 is a bit
It's a
interesting.
use. It's 100% a
I
use
thought
for
so.
me. I think so.
The other use, and I have to get information for me, is the number 7, Angelica Bay. Not sure I love the jock situation here, but I do like Simon Callahan. And she was staked against some nice horses in Europe last year, including Lady Victoria. I mean, she was 100 to 1
Lake
that day
Victoria, yeah,
and
yeah.
lost by 18. But that being said, and look,
Still
she
was
lost to a
there
next
against
out
her.
winner. She lost to a next out winner in Orchid, then she lost to another next out winner in Footwork, and she was in higher class allowance races last year as a 2-year-old. So again, I got to look at the workout pattern for number 7, Angelica Bay, but just the fact that she was staked in higher class caught my fancy, shall we say. Talk about
She
the
was my
10.
fourth horse, by the way. She was my fourth. So
Okay.
I am white. I am right. Me and you were in sort of lockstep in this race, I think.
Talk about She's the Law, and then we'll give our picks for the, or we'll give
Yeah,
our best bets.
this was one that cut back. So hadn't sprinted since the debut, and that debut was awful, but it was on dirt, actually losing, as we talk about horses who are phenomenal, lost to Kinza in, not who's phenomenal, but a very nice horse that then especially comes back. They cut the horse back to 6.5 and runs really well. You get almost not a lifetime buyer top, but a pretty good facsimile of a lifetime buyer top. And that was off the layoff. Now you're getting second off again. Could just be where they found the right distance for this horse. And again, we always say that, like, you tinker, and then when you find it, did they finally figure it out, and do they keep doing that? The one thing I was worried about, sometimes she's a little too far back and there's not a ton of pace here, but sometimes she's not. Sometimes she's up closer. So I guess that depends on what the pace is going to be. But I think if she sits close, she's a threat too in that race.
Yeah, it's wide open. There's a lot more homework we have to do. We're doing the show Thursday night. The races are Sunday. Again, I got to look at the workout report and a few things. A few questions in the chat. What's up, Katie? Did I handicap the Belmont Gold Cup tomorrow, Friday? I did. I like the German horse. I think it's Follow the Curve.
Flatten the curve.
3 to 1.
Flatten the curve. Yeah.
I like Flatten the Curve. Just like the German breeding going 2 miles. I think Limited Liability is the favorite in that race. But of course, that's Belmont. We're here to talk about Santa Anita, but we do, of course, appreciate the question. Let's get to our picks. Let me see. I'm just looking at it. We got another Monty Lopez. What's up, Monty? Any locks with only speed tomorrow? I'm assuming he's cheekily referring to Belmont or Saratoga and not Santa Anita. I've now looked at Santa Anita tomorrow, Friday. So, Monty, thanks for your question. If that's for Santa Anita, I don't have any answers to that as of right now. If it's for Saratoga, I'll tell you what, look me up on X, Monty, or email me, and I'll give you some thoughts there. I'd rather not discuss that during our great race play show here. But speed does seem to be playing pretty well in general in New York. It usually does, it seems like, during this festival. Okay, so let's go to our best bets here. Pete for Santa Anita right now. Pete's best bet is going to race 7. He's going to play a $3 pick 3, 2-7 with 147 with 2-9-10. That is a $54 play. And then race 8, he's going to play that $5 daily double, taking advantage of the great wagering menu at the Great Race Place. That daily double, Pete, is going 1-4 with the aforementioned a few minutes ago, 2-10. That is a $20 play. Quick thoughts, Pete.
Yeah, no, that's nothing out of hand. I'm basically just going. The only thing I wish I would have done, and I did it in the pick 3, is I included that 9 Lady Chic. The one change I'd make maybe when it comes down to it is when I do the the same way and hope we can get Lady. Again, I'd love to see what the odds are. If Lady Chic is somehow double digits or something, or even 8 or so up, then I would definitely like to have that horse in the mix and as many bets as possible, just in case she jumps up.
Right. We won't know the board, unfortunately, for Lady Sheep, but we'll see. Pete mentioned, you see on the screen, the $5 daily double and the $3 pick three, both great bets, but we haven't talked about as much lately. Oh, another pick three, the all turf pick three is fantastic. It's going to be really good again with 2 of the races that we've already talked about, plus the one before race 6 speed. Let's take a look at a wonderful bet at Santa Anita. It is the $3 turf pick three.
Play the Santa Anita All Turf Pick 3. The last 3 turf races on the card. $3 minimum. Player friendly 15% takeout. Every race day at Santa Anita Park.
That's going to include race 5, Pete, along with race 7 and race 9. The $3 pick 3, races 5, 7, and 9 at Santa Anita.
What's cool about that first
Sunday.
leg is there's only 6 horses. 4 of them ran against each other last out. So it's one of those old harness style races where you're getting everybody coming back to knock heads again. I like those.
I do like when the horses are coming back from the same race. I'm going to play the $3 pick 3, not the turf pick 3, but just the last 3 races. I'm going to go 2, 6, 7, 8 with 1, 4 with 2, 7, 9. I'll throw in that number 7 Euro. Again, I'm not sure I would use that horse as of now, but I think she's a bit interesting. I've got Lady Chic in there along with the likely favorite, the number 2, who certainly doesn't have to win. If some of these fresh faces are live, they could absolutely win. That's a $72 play. It's a little bigger than I normally would play, Pete, but I think it can pay because I'm not going with all favorites there. And, all you need one price, even at 5 or 6 to 1 middling price, and you can really jump your ticket up. Pete, any final thoughts? Anything at Santa Anita on the West Coast, or anything perhaps at Saratoga for the Belmont? Why don't you just give everyone a quick, for people that haven't been following us with our East Coast coverage, why don't you just give us 30 seconds on your opinion of the third leg of the Triple Crown with 2 very live California-based sources in journalism and Baeza, and don't forget about Rodriguez also.
Yeah, the West Coast is going to be very interested in this race for sure. I think it's phenomenal. I mean, we like to see when the horses come back in the Belmont, and we're getting the top 3 from the Derby, we're getting the Preakness winner, and we're getting some other contenders like Rodriguez and Hill Road, who I actually like to hit the board. I'm going with journalism, but I think it's basically, I know we talked about this on our show last night. To me, it's razor thin between journalism, sovereignty, Baeza. I don't even think you could handicap a choice out of the 3 all that much. You can just have a feeling as to which one you like. And I think it's going to come down to trip. I think journalism, Baeza maybe gets the jump on the other 2. Journalism attacks Baeza, sovereignty, and hopefully for me, Hill Road make that third sort of leg of the run, and then we see down the lane who still has it. So to me, it's very interesting. I know you're going the Baeza route from the show, and talk about that, I guess, for a second for anybody who hasn't watched that one yet.
I did not love Baeza in the Derby at all. He proved me wrong. I thought he ran huge. I think John Sheriff's is underrated, even though he had a horse named Zenyatta, I believe, that was pretty good mare. I think Baeza is going to sit a great trip here, and I see no reason why he can't win as the third choice. For people that are interested in anything that's going on with Saratoga or the Belmont Stakes, we had several shows on our YouTube channel. Please check those out for Belmont Festival, and we a specific show only for the Belmont Stakes itself that was about 35 minutes long. Please check that out. But everyone watching and listening, the best thing that you can do, other than subscribe to our fantastic Power Pick tip sheet, which is below the video player, is just spread the word. We want to do this show, Pete. One of the main reasons we want to reach out more to our West Coast viewers and listeners. We know we have a lot of people that either are on the West Coast or enjoy betting West Coast racing. Please spread the word about the HHH Racing Podcast. We've got shows Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursday nights, all live on YouTube, sometimes Mondays. We've got a great website that Pete usually that he runs, HHH Racing Podcast.com. So the best thing that you can do for us, folks, other than the usual subscribe and thumbs up, is, of course, subscribe to our Power Pick tip sheet below the video player. Look in the description there. You can find out it's very inexpensive and very profitable. And then spread the word, Pete. Just tell people, hey, I've been watching the show. These HHH Racing podcast guys, it's a lot of fun. They make it entertaining, educational, find some winners, etc. That's really what we that you can do for us, people. So again, appreciate the viewership. 500 people, Pete, watching live right now on a Thursday night, a little bit late on the East Coast, and with an NBA game going on. Also, our viewership has been absolutely tremendous, and we know you're watching because you believe that we'll find you some winners, and hopefully we did that this evening. For my wonderful co-host Pete Visco, this has been your host Howard Kravitz. It's been episode 23, the second to last episode in this early part of 2025, or the first part of 2025 at Santa Anita for the late pick 4 on Sunday. You know what to do. Crush your bets at Santa Anita this Sunday. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.